Hello, this is Joe Pryor of the virtualrealestateteam.com in Oklahoma City. And today I want to talk about accurate data. Now, we always hear this term big data, which is large companies pulling a tremendous amount of data and trying to give interpretation to it. And that's the same thing in real estate. For instance, there's something called a Zestimate. If you go on to Zillow, they say, well, this house is worth $180,000. Well, and there's millions of homes that have a Zestimate. Well, the one thing we know for sure is that Zillow has not been able to go to each individual home and be able to pull things. Now, it's getting better and better. They're getting more and more accurate, but if they're 20% off, that is not exactly what we call accurate data. Now, accurate data may be a little bit of a misnomer too, because, it's hard to, take a home and get it right down to the last dollar and what it's worth, because ultimately the market sets the data. But the one thing as realtors that we have access to here locally, and you do buy locally, even if you're an investor buying in California, you need to know Oklahoma City data, and you need to know that that realtor is pulling proper data. But, I get data from our MLS system. I get data from courthouse records. I get data from what's called auto evaluation models, AVMs. And so I can take all these things, put them together, drill down into the details, talk to investors, and find something that approximates accurate data. Now, another thing I think people confuse with accurate data is they say, well, what's the square footage of that house? And I say, well, more or less, it's 1,800 square feet. And they say, well, what do you mean more or less? Or sometimes if you see something that says MOL, more or less, what exactly does that mean? Well, again, it means that accurate data is getting as close as possible, but it's not a perfect, exact science. So in other words, I can take that 1,800 square foot home, I can invite 3 appraisers to go out and measure that home, and those 3 appraisers will come up with 3 different square footages. Now, it may be only 10 square feet difference between the 3, but then that is as close as we're going to get to accurate data. Now, there is accurate data in terms of things like closing costs, what you got to bring to closing. We know that there's details to the mortgage that is accurate data. But the one thing I want to explain to you is that local realtors pulling data from the sources that we have will give you the best possible information on which to base a judgment. And that we're going to be dealing with a team of people, with mortgage bankers, with insurance companies, with title companies, with inspectors, with repairs, and everything else to make sure that we get as accurate and precise as possible. So when you see, someone say something about data and they say, well, this is overall, this is this much, or if they say, well, all the homes listed in Oklahoma City will take 3.5 months to sell, well, that's good news. That's good data. But if you're buying a $150,000 house versus $1 million house, let's make that data a little bit more relevant to you. Let's make it a little bit more accurate. And let's represent it for what it is, as close as we can possibly can to the real deal in terms of what it is. And that is our responsibility as a local realtor, because this is what we do every day, is help people buy and sell real estate. This is Joe Pryor of the virtualrealestateteam.com in Oklahoma City, where we deliver traditional real estate values at the speed of technology.